Good morning, friends. So I want to share a little story that came to me overnight, and it reminded me of how the times are today and how divided we are, which makes me so sad. I actually cannot even be on social media for that long, especially Facebook, before I start feeling this really heavy, dark, intense emotions that weigh me down. And so it makes sense that I'm on like this pause from posting over there. I should also be on a pause from consuming over there a little more. I am and I'm not at the same time. Like I pop my head on once in a while, checking on family basically and some close friends. But anyway, so here's a story that came to me overnight, and it's not meant to be offensive. It's meant to make you think. So here you go. It's a fictional story for starters, but it's based on what I'm watching, observing. Remember, I don't know if I've shared much, but I'm more of an observer. That is my personality type, and I believe I am here to observe more than anything else, and not only myself mostly, but others. And so today, here is an observation I made, but it's being told in a fictional story. Ready, set, go. Once upon a time, there was this husband and this wife. And this husband really liked this car. He was going to buy this beautiful muscle car. It was like a 1960s, and he was all about it. She had no idea about cars. She wasn't even pretending to understand his love with this car. All she knew is that in her friend group, that particular car was associated with a certain political side, and you don't want to be known as them. That is a big no-no in her social circles. But her husband was like, I don't care about that. I just like this car. This car is what do they call it? Not nostalgic. I cannot think of the word, but he was like so into this car. It's a classic, it's an original, it's old, it's got all these crank handle windows, it still has ashtrays in the car like we used to have when we were kids. It was this beautiful thing, and he's telling his wife all about it. He's so passionate about this car. But she literally is thinking and freaking out in her head because all of the people in the world are in the world, as she thinks in the world, but in her town, in her friend group. Oh my gosh, what are they going to say if my husband shows up in this car? Like, I can't have this car seen in my property because this car is associated with this political side. She's so emotionally connected to the fact that this car, just an inanimate object, now is a symbol of a political party that would be the opposite of what her friend group would approve. And so it goes. The husband and wife have a conversation, and he is like, I'm really sorry, babe, but this car matters a lot to me. And while I try to respect your emotions and your feelings, I think that this is a very unreasonable thing to stand firm on. So I'm going to go ahead and get this car. I've worked really hard this year. We have the extra finances, and you can go get something special for yourself too. I would not stop you from getting it regardless of someone else associating it with a political party, because that's nonsense. This is an object. It's a car. It is not a political statement. There's not even bumper stickers on it. And so the wife says, fine, honey, but I don't know. We might have to divorce if it's too much. So sure enough, they agree. He gets the car. He's excited. He's driving it around, and word gets around, and the wife has to make a choice now. Is she going to value her marriage and respect her marriage and stay true to those sacred vows she has with her husband? Or is she going to succumb to the peer pressure that is the times we live in, where everyone in her friend group and in society is staring at her and thinking that she is one of those people, and she is obviously on that political side, and she is not valuable, and she's not worthy, and clearly her husband is brainwashing her, manipulating her, and controlling her. And so now all of her friends are starting to kind of talk to her and like, honey, are you okay? Like, are you safe at home? I'll be your safe spot. I'll be your safe place. If you're being abused, if you're being manipulated, please, honey, you know what? You don't even know you're being abused and manipulated. Obviously, if your husband bought this car and he's now associated with this political party, like, oh my goodness, honey, come here. You can come stay at my house. I will help you through your divorce. You can do this. And all of her friends are telling her this over and over and over again. Till finally, the wife is like pitted against her husband. These friend groups that she have now convinced her that her husband is something that he has never been to her, never ever in their double-digit years of being married. He has never shown her signs of any of these things. He has loved her dearly. He has, in fact, pretty much put her on a pedestal. He works really hard and allows her the freedoms of having her own choices and to do her own things. And she has so many friends and she has so many hobbies she's been able to pursue because of her husband and hers marriage together and how much they value each other. And yet, in this one little purchase of this car that was associated with a political party, their friends, her friends anyway, were able to get inside her head and convince her that this man was basically poison. This man whom she loved for so long. This man whom she had children with who are now adults. This man who all he wanted was this classic car that reminded him of his childhood. It was nostalgic. It was beautiful. It was a muscle car. It was something he worked so hard and he could now afford, not only for himself, but he could now afford for her to get something that she maybe was passionate about from nostalgia from her childhood. But in this choice, this one choice of buying this one car, he said goodbye to his marriage. He said goodbye to the wife that he once knew because she decided to divorce him and convinced herself that he was abusive, manipulative, and just a horrible man. And that's how the story ends. Can you sense the sadness in this story, my friends? Is this relatable to you by any means? Can you notice a trend that's happening in this world where husband and wives, sisters and brothers and sisters and parents and children are being manipulated by outside sources, people we call friends, of saying that if this, then that, and it's black and white and that's how it is, there is no gray area. You know, this husband in this story, he obviously is now a very manipulative, abusive man just because he bought a car that is associated with a political party. But that association happened through media and consumption of too much news and social media telling you that this car means this, and it's a car. It doesn't have any meaning. It's literally just an object. But the world has manipulated your minds, my friends. It's putting a wedge between the love and the connection you have with each other, not only as a husband and wife or brothers and sisters or parents and children. There are so many things happening in this world that's trying to put a wedge between connections that matter. I won't pretend to know the intentions and I won't try to assume intentions, but I do have to say that it makes me question what these intentions are and what happened with society that made us no longer value the commitments and the love that we've had. What is it that a friend group could convince this woman of these illogical beliefs based on a car that her husband bought? What is it about us that we are so easily manipulated by words and news coverage and consumption of media that transforms us to be thinking that those that love us most and have always been there for us are all of a sudden evil, yet these people that are gossiping all the time about everyone and constantly shifting with the trending winds, they're more righteous and more correct than someone we've known our entire lives. This is just a fictional story, but I know that it's a true story for so many of you out there. If you or someone you know has experienced such a traumatic outcome from our current times, I want you to know that I'm praying for you. I'm sending you love and light, and I hope that more of us can wake up to the reality that is right in front of us, not behind the screens. Much love. Protect yourself.